Dark and bizarre, bizarre and dark, dark and bizarre. You ain't leaving with all you brought, hopeless and helpless, chained to a wall. The blade's getting closer, the open grave calls. Why, oh why did I read those words? My damnation's infernal. I thought Joe couldn't steal my soul, but horror springs eternal.
Oh, I knew this one was going to be fun, and I knew this one was going to be popular. And I'm so glad that the people watching are watching right now. If new people come and go, that's great too. What a hell of an episode we are going to break down tonight on Retro Trekkers. It is The Way to Eden from the TOS, those old scientists, the original series, Star Trek, and it's going to be glorious. Let's have fun.
Retro Trekkers. Get down with the retro Trekkers. Captain John and Commander Joe. Retro Trekkers. We love our Star Trek. Retro Trekkers. The nerd muscles get the facts. Retro Trekkers. Get down with the retro Trekkers. Let's get it done. Retro Trekkers. Something back with the week.
And of course, I cannot do this alone. We're on the ricketiest space station in the fleet. It's official. We've been voted yet again. Ricketiest. I have my staff, and they are wonderful. They are wonderful and mighty. And of course, you've got to have a first officer to my captaincy. And that, of course, would be Commander Joe Townsell. Mr. Townsell, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Captain. You know, I have to say that I love your melodic yet commanding voice so much. I wonder if you need to check your mic. Just make sure I'm getting the full quality.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
I didn't notice anything before we went on.
I set that a couple hours ago. I think, okay, so this is fun, and I am not going to remain a customer of StreamYard for much longer.
I'm sorry, that's the cause.
It is a mess. Speaking of a mess, let's go down below decks and talk to our Chief Pettiness Officer, CPO Eric Kramer. Where are you, sir? Young man?
Stepping into Eden, yeah, brother.
I didn't turn off his mic.
Into Eden, yeah, brother.
I'm not hearing you.
You're not hearing me?
Our intrepid captain may be having an issue because I do hear you, Eric, and let me tell you how lovely that sounded.
Ah, there you go. No more trouble in my body or my mind. Live like a king on whatever I find. Eat all the fruit and throw away the rind. Yeah, brother. Yeah.
Holy cow.
If I could snap my fingers, that's what I'd be doing right now.
I reached that, brother.
We are one. We are one.
Holy cow. That is damn impressive.
We've all been drinking down here. It started with campfire songs.
Oh, well, and then once all the beers
and then now we're just like, fuck it. Fuck this society. Fuck this, fuck this fucking ship.
Okay.
We're gonna go find some grass.
Do we have time to edit my singing out of the beats?
Oh no. Your beats are inviolable. Nothing will be done. Oh, I added a little bit of music to the beats, but that's all we did this week with the beats because they were.
Well, I'm referring mainly to the singing sessions because how do you follow Eric? My goodness.
Well, let's get started, shall we? Let us discuss this episode. Now, of course, we are talking about, let me get that up there, The Way to Eden. And it is from the original series. It is so much fun. Let me take a look at our, one of the interesting things about this episode, and we've talked about it before on the show, is where the cast and crew were while they were making this one. And, basically the circumstances of this episode. For example, this episode aired on February 21st, 1969. So this is at the end of the 60s. This is pretty much, I guess the Summer of Love was percolating on the back burner, but as far as Star Trek goes, this is one of the last 5 episodes of the series. And I think at this point, everybody kind of understood they're not coming back. This series is just done. They're just slowly, marching to oblivion. And The Way to Eden was followed by only 4 more episodes. Does anyone care to tell me which of the 4 of the last episodes they can name?
Well, I mean, Turnabout Intruder is one of them.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Watching the chat as well? Don't look it up. If you know it, tell me. But
yeah, no cheating.
But Turnabout Intruder is the very last episode. That's number 24 of this 3rd season.
The one with Mr. Atos.
Let me
All
tell
our
you, if the
yesterdays.
series had any legs, any chance of having legs, Turnabout Intruder fucking chopped them off and killed it. Like if any executive was going, maybe we should save. Did you see it? Oh shit! No.
Although it should be pointed out that Turnabout Intruder was never a rerun until it became syndicated.
Oh,
Because they held it back until the show was just going to be gone after the reruns.
So I saw somebody guess the Cloudminders. That's the one that comes right before The Way to Eden. The one right after Way to Eden is Requiem for Methuselah.
Oh, yeah.
Then after that one, The Savage Curtain. And then after that one, All Our Yesterdays. And then Turnabout Intruder. So that's where we are, nerds.
And even though Uhura doesn't appear in this one, or maybe one of the remaining 5, I don't care. She's here. I put her there.
That's like so upsetting. Did she have another series she was going? She just wasn't.
She might have been performing somewhere, but they brought in a little blonde.
Was she ever considered a regular though?
What was that, Eric?
Was she ever considered a regular?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
How all episodes produced.
Yeah, I don't know how they work.
I always considered her a regular, but once you start going back and start watching, there's a few like she's not a part of.
It's weird how there will be an episode where there's not, one of the core crew is missing.
Yeah,
but I guess that's kind of the 60s. It's not like Big Valley where it's like, well, all the kids have to be in it.
Well, and George Takei, as we know, is missing from the first half dozen of season 2 because he
he had the
Green Berets,
right? But
yeah, he was in the Green Berets.
And like in the books or anything as to why she wouldn't have been around.
No, it's a good question. I honestly cannot tell you. What can I tell you? I can tell you that this episode was directed by David Alexander, who I believe did multiple episodes. It is written, the teleplay, by Arthur Heinemann, from a story by Michael Richards, not that Michael Richards, and Arthur Heinemann. And that's pretty much all I got on this one. Joe will fill us in later with some tidbits, but I believe it's time for us to go to the almighty beats. Are you guys? My bad.
No tracker.
My bad. I did it all wrong.
Beats, of course, meaning added meaning this time.
The beats. Okay. Now I can play them for you. Here we go.
Retro trekkers head to the moderate land, aka the elongated country, aka the Venice of Scandinavia. Sven and Inga invite you to join us on the Invade of Sweden. You dope! That's the wrong episode title. Oh, sorry. Thanks, John and Eric. Hey, let's try that again. Gonna jump for joy about where this is leading. Retro trekkers are on the way to Eden. Don't be a Herbert, you dig? This is heavy, man. It's the original series episode about those wild, wacky, cosmic hippies and their groovy Space Jam session. Kirk and the Enterprise are in hot pursuit of the stolen spaceship Aurora, which looks a little bit like a beat-up Volkswagen van. As with all antagonists fleeing the Enterprise, whoever is on the Aurora ain't giving up easily. The space van's engines get overheated and the ship blows up real good. Far out, man. Scotty beamed aboard 6 hippies before the cruiser exploded. The 6 Vanjackers are a group of idealists in search of the paradise world of Eden. They are led by the brilliant but kooky engineer Dr. Severin, who has a bunch of flesh-colored Play-Doh plastered onto his ears.
What?
And meet the other miscreants in the ragtag group. There is Tongo Rad. He's the son of a Catulans ambassador.
Nepo baby.
So Kirk has to tread lightly and can't just throw them all in the brig. Also, there's Adam. Adam? Eden? Get it? His forte is singing protest songs. And there's the lovely Russian babe named Irina, who is an old flame of Chekhov's.
She's super cute.
Not trusting anybody over 30, the group refuses to cooperate with Kirk. They begin chanting, "Herbert! Herbert! Herbert!" Now them's fighting words, but they dig Spock, who knows all about their quest and philosophy, including their secret hand gesture. Spock talks him into heading over to sickbay for a once-over, although Severin is reluctant. Well, everyone gets a clean bill of health. Except for Severin. Turns out he is an asymptomatic carrier of some kind of space bacterium.
What?
Either that or VD. Well, Kirk's taking no chances. Severin is quickly quarantined in the brig. His followers stage a sit-in right there in the corridor. Sulu drops by to flirt with the blonde. Severin admits to being aware of his affliction. But it's cool, man. Give me to Eden and the purity of that wonderful world will fix me right up. After careful analysis, Spock deduces what the audience knew during the episode's teaser. Severin is a nutjob. Chekhov recognizes his old girlfriend's sweet voice and hokey Russian accent over the intercom. Kirk gives the navigator permission to visit his old gal pal and offers a sly wink.
And he squeezed
Soon,
his arm.
Chekhov is having a nice stroll with Ariana, much to the curiosity and delight of other male crew members. Gee whiz! This corridor sure got crowded suddenly. Ariana, what's with the hippie get-up? We went to Starfleet Academy together before you dropped out. Well, what about you, Chekhov? When did you become such a conservative square? Oh, actually only for this episode. Usually I have a lot of boyish, mischievous charm, and I scream real good. Kirk wants to bring the entire group to the nearest starbase, and be done with this whole mess. But the hippies have other ideas. Hey man, we've heard that it's really easy to take control of the Enterprise, especially during the 3rd season of this series. You know, I think we'll just hijack your starship, or at least a shuttle, to get to Eden. Either that or we'll just call an Uber. Time for a super cool space jam session. Spock grabs his Vulcan lute and plucks it in unison with the cute blonde hippie. She's playing a bizarre stringed instrument, which looks like a hubcap with wires strung across it. The only thing missing to set the mood are strobe lights, lava lamps, and a disco ball. Adam warbles a groovy out-of-tune ditty, which the actor playing him co-wrote. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't brag about either his efforts as a singer or a lyricist. Heading out to Sweden. Eden, you idiot! Eden! Oh yeah. Heading out to Eden. Yay, brother. Heading out to Eden. Gonna don a fig leaf for my loins. Gonna live like a king on my panhandling for coins. Eat all the fruit you want if you really want to join. Yay, brother, yay. Oh my. Where's the sweet soothing singing voice of Uhura when you need it? Severin's our new darling, our darling, our darling. Even though the lovely and talented communications officer is apparently off duty for many of the remaining episodes of the series, all the young crew members on the Enterprise are getting down anyway. They gather in the lounge for the impromptu jam session, which is also played over the ship's loudspeakers. Kirk rolls his eyes. Thank God we didn't pick up a bunch of rappers. Kirk is getting more frustrated as his distracted crew grooves at their post or contemplates their navels. Security is not paying attention. Rad frees Severin. Soon the hippies take over auxiliary control and puts the Enterprise on course for Eden. Hey man, it is easy to hijack the Enterprise. Don't I know it? Security on this ship really sucks. Without so much as an attempt to reclaim control of the ship, the Enterprise arrives at the mythical planet of Eden. Severin renders all Enterprise crew unconscious with some kind of ultrasonic frequency broadcast through the intercom. Well, that is, everyone except for the security dudes, who are stoned on a doobie break. The hippies swap a shuttlecraft and head planetside. When the crew wakes up, they discover that Severin and his followers have vamoosed. These guys are getting good at hot-wiring spacecraft. Kirk deactivates Severin's sonic device, but alas, poor William Shatner. He'll have tinnitus for the rest of his life. But Kirk enlists Spock, McCoy, and Chekhov to search for the motley crew of space hippies. The planet's surface is lush and beautiful. However, all the fauna secretes a powerful concentrated acid. Chekhov offers one of his trademark yelps when he touches a flower, which inflicts a boo-boo onto his hand. Bones, get out the Bactine. Ah, but Chekhov's injured hand is nothing. The hippies are burned by the grass. No, not the toking kind, but actual blades of fire that scorch the skin. Also, they experience a bummer mind-bending trip on acid. Again, no, not LSD or even LDS. No, the alien apples from the Tree of Disinformation are filled with concentrated acid. Poor Adam. He should have taken a bite out of that forbidden fruit. Severin and his other followers are licking their wounds in the shuttlecraft, all with chemical burns on their tootsies. Are you convinced now, you silly space hippies? This is not the Eden you seek. We gots to go. F that, shouts Severin. He runs from the shuttle, climbs into yonder tree and takes a big bite out of one of the toxic fruits. Tasty but deadly. Severin drops dead as a doornail. Later, back on the Enterprise, Iriana comes to the bridge to say ta-ta to Chekhov. Spock advises Iriana and her groovy friends to not give up their search for Eden. He is optimistic that they will either find Eden or will make it for themselves. Boy, oh boy, Mr. Spock. Dealing with those space hippies really tried my patience and tuckered me out. No more cult leaders and madcap messiahs searching for Eden, hijacking the Enterprise. Well, Captain, I do have this half-brother, but I'm sure we'll never run into him. Haha. Famous last words. Yay, brother.
Oh, come on. Come on. Give it up. Give it up for Townsville.
Kind of a low blow on that last graphic, but I'll let it slide.
Not intended, Eric. Not intended. My apologies. And again, John, 50% at least is the great music. Thank you.
It was all good. All right. Hey. We have seen the beats, and now it's time to talk about whatever we want to talk about in this episode. Let's get down and dirty. And oh my God. Well, here's the thing. I admire Joe's understanding that Spice Williams, who's the gal that Eric was canoodling with in Spice Williams is always on Eric's radar. Am I wrong about that, Mr. Kramer?
Well, I mean, yeah, we have this weird sort of, we intersect every once in a while. I mean, not for a long time, but yeah, because she taught me how to wrestle for some what was it, not Law and Order, some court lawyer show where we wound up wrestling in the courtroom.
Oh, cool.
Well, all right, let's get back to talking about this episode. Let's talk about those dirty hippies. Furry Bastard says, funny how the space hippies are very similar to modern day protesters. Let's talk about that. This episode, the things that jumped out to me, and please tell me, anyone, the things that jumped out to you. So it's 1969. It's been hippie time for a while. And one of the things I noticed it this time watching it, I'd never noticed it before. It's when Chekhov is talking about the girl. And he says, she was at the academy, but then she dropped out. And that's like, so is this a Timothy Leary thing? Do you think that is this turn on, drop out? Is that what they're referring to?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
I think Severin's definitely based on Timothy Leary.
Here's the thing. I remember watching Dragnet and their hippie episodes. Kid, you don't need a magic cube unless you have one that's called a book. I'm paraphrasing the great Jack Webb. But I feel like I feel like what they were basing this off of was there must be some charismatic leader that is causing the kids to behave this way. There's always some groovy guy who's very, very influential. And I was a child at the time, but as I gathered the youth movement, it wasn't that they all prayed to a certain grown-up. It's that they were free and they did their own thing. So why did network television keep coming back to, no, you're following a leader? Anyone?
Well, and to the extent that I alluded to it a moment ago, Chekhov doesn't act like this in any other episode.
Right.
And I think there's a reason for that, which I'll get to in tidbits, but it is pretty much out of character for him to be like the conservative heavy.
Right.
In addition to Kirk, obviously.
Well, but did you notice Kirk's hair is a lot floofier in this one? It's almost like he went to the hair people and went, "Hey, listen, I don't want to be Herbert in this. Can you make me look a little more groovy?"
It was so funny. I did notice that he looks really like he's already been in a fight with somebody.
Yeah. Like the hair was decidedly more like.
Well,
You gotta know it was killing him to be like the straight man in this.
Yeah.
well, not only that, guys, but did you notice that you could see the ribs of his corset sometimes?
Oh, I wasn't even paying attention to that.
It was a big corset episode. I did notice that. Like, oh, his pooch he's carrying it really high. That's interesting. I mean, I carry mine very low. Bastard says in 1969 the hippies were dropping the whole love and peace thing. This episode was very much in touch with the hippie culture. Yeah, I mean it's kind of classic for network television to be a few years behind, what's cool and
yeah, because they had to break these scripts almost a year in advance, right?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. And then you got to shoot them, and then you got to wait to air them. So yeah. Aired in 1969, but really probably the idea in play from like 67, 68.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that was another way that Roddenberry would run the show in the last 2 years was he would give out writing assignments. And sometimes people would finish them, but sometimes people didn't finish them. Okay, Nat says, what jumps out to me now is how much Severin and his followers resemble Charles Manson and the family. That's very interesting. I had myself not made that connection, because I wonder if they really wanted you to know that it was outwardly sinister. Did anyone feel that they were sinister? Because I feel like they were.
But I think
just Severin, maybe not his followers.
Let's look. Every generation has that group, right? That has that voice that speaks for them, and they're basically it's all based on fuck this, fuck all you guys. We're gonna go do our own thing,
right? This is a great idea. What if Finnegan, Kirk's bully from the academy, ended up one of the hippies? That'd be hilarious. Raphael says, only show I could think of that was barely counterculture was Brady Bunch or Partridge Family, but them laughing was so topical. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Sauter says, if Spock calls you insane, you can take that to the bank.
I mean, he called Kirk insane, not 15 episodes prior, so.
Bastard says only Severin gave out the sinister vibe. He was good casting because that voice.
I dug him. I thought, yeah.
That voice held so much authority.
I dug his acting, and you know what? He was sinister without fucking playing at it.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was just yeah. Like all that stuff, even the retaliation in the transporter room and in the sick bay and stuff. Yeah. Like really well done. Like that, he could have easily been chewing scenery, but he was just.
There was something placid and almost even tempered about him. I was going to say easygoing, but even tempered works as well. He wasn't a mustache twirler. He kind of kept a lid on his creepiness, like the guy playing Rad.
Mm-hmm.
Who I actually worked with in real life, and he is super creepy.
You mentioned him. I'm going to make John that character. No, I better not.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Because,
and it makes the whole, it makes the whole sound thing at the end, like when that comes out, it's like, oh fuck, he's willing to kill people over this.
I had forgotten this. Did you pick up on this, either of you fellows, that that actor had previously been in Patterns of Force playing a Nazi?
Well, I appreciate Nat bringing it up. It was going to be a tidbit, but now we've got it out there. So, yes, and even Melicon, very memorable there as well. And I want to say real quick before we move on from him, and that as far as Severin, and there was the funny comparison to Cybok or vice versa. I think neither were villains, but they were very arrogant.
Yeah.
And and which basically bit them in the ass at the end in both stories.
Good point. And I think that is like a Star Trek lesson. There is a pride comes before the fall.
Mhm.
You've got to keep an open mind. There's a lot of that in Star Trek. And if you are too sure of yourself, you're probably wrong. But part of that, I did want to pick up, Chris, did I put this one up? None of you are old enough. I was there in 1969. Joe, all those vehicles had to say forward on the front.
Oh,
Weber, I was a hippie and we didn't follow any great leader. Yeah, that's how I remember it.
well, that would be the philosophy pretty much, wouldn't it?
Exactly. But
Yeah.
why does
There
network
was no leader,
television
there were
go?
voices for that generation, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of what Severin represents.
Yes, and I think there are, I think it's a sense of authority. Like, one of the things that hardly anyone understands. Oh, well, it happens even to this day, where people are like, "Where are the Antifa headquarters?"
Right.
Well, anti-fascist is just a philosophy that opposes fascism, but someone convinced you that they're a corporation or some sort of United Way kind of organization or something. I don't understand how a lot of people feel.
Well, it's also, that goes into the philosophy too, that you, as much as maybe historically it claims this, how do you declare war on an individual versus a country?
Mm.
You
Right,
know?
right. You got to make him pretty bad. I do like this from Raphael. We are not we are not comparing Severin to Allen Ginsberg. Well, Allen Ginsberg was a poet. He was an entertainer. He was a voice of his generation. I definitely see where you're thinking about that.
I think it would be more of a comparison to his cohort, though, that sang all the songs and co-wrote them.
What the hippie culture did was protest leaders, and we didn't have Herberts. We had Bogarts. No, Bogarts are nothing you'd really want anyway.
Bogart.
So let me ask everybody this. Is this a silly, bad episode? Is this a of its time, it was probably more serious then episode? Or is this a really good episode? Where do any of you come in on that? And let me start with you, Mr. Kramer.
I think it's a pretty solid message episode. I mean, Spock gets not dragged into, but Spock is well versed in the philosophy and kind of believes in it. And he even talks about, being an alien and, that he gets what they're thinking.
Right.
And it's a pretty strong message. Look, people have been forecasting how, our society and our technology and everything is going to be the end of us down the road anyway. I mean, for decades, people have always talked about going back to a simpler way of life. So that message isn't new.
Right.
But it was interesting tying Spock into the philosophy, which I thought, again, Nimoy handled brilliantly.
I was very impressed with Nimoy in this episode. I mean, that's not to say I'm ever watching an episode going, he's sandbagging it.
You know what? No, but the whole bit with when Napier comes into his room, most of it time he's not speaking. He's like checking him out.
Right.
Can I try it?
Right. Joe, how do you feel about this episode, where it fits into the overall mythology? Is it one of the bad ones, one of the good ones? What do you think?
I think it's one of the good ones in that it succeeds in getting its message across. One of the Nimoy things that really impressed me as far as the performance was when Spock first walks into the lounge. You think, he's there to crack down on them and tell them to behave themselves. And he just takes out his loot and joins right in. That's awesome. I think the reason it might come across to some people as being a little bit hokey, if that's the word, is that it's one of the few that takes a real life contemporary situation and doesn't disguise itself as much as Star Trek usually did.
Right. Good point.
A good example of that was in the first episode of Strange New Worlds when they used actual footage from January 6th to show the aliens. That point made, but it was a little bit heavy in the sense that it just kind of brought you out of a little. So that might be the only reason some people may not embrace this one as much as they might have. It had been a little bit less obvious.
I got some great comments from the chat here. Bastard says it's a decent enough episode, not the best, but very far from being a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Considering that season 3, the first episode was Spock's brain.
Spock's brain, Jesus,
the best one ever.
Raphael says, as a kid, I was surprised to see space hippies. As an adult, you see the message. Yeah. It's funny because I remember being a kid and enjoying looking at space hippies as much as I enjoyed looking at the Gorn. To me, they were these fanciful creatures. But Scott really nails something that I actually had thought for a long time, which was it's a good moment for Spock, who was a counterculture icon by this point. I felt that way too. I felt like, they're showing that Spock is cool with the kids. But that kind of makes sense too, because they're also, by comparison of hippies to Starfleet, they are reminding you Starfleet is the Navy. It is like a sky military, it is a space force, if you will. Bastard says, yeah, back in the Stone Age, there were cavemen who advocated for the return to the trees. Chris says, I always realized the counterculture episodes of TV were usually written by old white, mostly Jewish men who probably never smoked a joint. Spock repressed space hippie. I mean, here's the thing. I think all Spock had to be was Spock.
Yeah.
It's like Link from the Mod Squad. All he had to do was be Link. Solid.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he had to do. Yeah, that's interesting. Tries too hard to be contemporary, like let that be your last battlefield. I wonder about that too, Nat. And I wonder how much Roddenberry had to do with that too. He's like, you know what? We should do something about those riots that happened in downtown. I've always wondered. Mike says it's very entertaining, but it's like let that be your last battlefield. Kind of club you on the head with the message. Bastard says, TOS presented an argument, left it up to the viewer to make a decision. The modern Trek tries to make you take the side they advocate. Yeah, I don't know if I could argue with that.
I'm not sure it's limited to modern Trek, though. I think that Star Trek has always had a point of view. Yeah,
and it's always tried to be a thought leader.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single one of their series have very woke episodes going back like 90 years. No. Plus the denigration of the nonconformists felt as tone deaf as a Dragnet episode. That is true. I especially felt that with Napier. Napier's character is just such a goofball. And considering that, he was in Russ Meyer's movies, for heaven's sake. I mean, the guy was in Faster Pussycat Kill.
And really, what was that deal with that stuff on his ears?
He just had different ears. Guy. Just had different ears. That's all. My hippie girlfriend at the time loved two things: Star Trek and Stranger in a Strange Land. That's why you grok Spock.
There you go.
I'd have to say I do find this an essential episode of the first series. I think it would, if they never showed it again, I would definitely miss it. But I don't know if that's how anybody else feels. Let's jump to the next. let's talk about who was your MVP in this episode? Who was your most valuable player? Commander Joe Townsend, let's start with you. Who's your MVP for this week?
Well, as always, you two gentlemen tend to go with the behind the scenes players. So I'll stick with the actor / character. And you know what? I usually go with the person that drives the episode's events, and that would have to be Severin.
Oh, interesting.
Nothing would have gone on if that had not been for him, the wacky doctor. So,
And he did have a really strong presence. I mean, he was a cult leader without trying too hard. Mr. Kramer, do you have an MVP, sir?
Yeah, I've got a few actually. They always Nimoy, always like Nimoy really is the glue that holds this whole episode together. He really is. He's the connection between the two worlds. But Severin, like, just, you know, a lot of actors can learn how to be bad guys from watching that performance.
That
But
is
Napier, I fucking love Napier in this.
yeah.
Just so happy. All his scenes with Nimoy, he's just there and just in it, you know?
Yeah.
And say, I'll tell you what else about Napier. He's fucking playing that guitar. If you watch him, he did a whole backstory on how to fucking play that thing. Like, he's adjusting it. He's moving his fingers along with the chords. Like, he's playing that thing. Like, he's like, you just know, like, between scenes, he's like, okay, well, this will be.
I love
that. I mean, did the instrument he played, did it produce sound, or was he just matching the movements, the finger movements?
No, he was just, I mean, I'm sure it made no sound at all, but the way he was playing it along with the track, like, his fingers are moving, like, you believe he's playing that thing. And then Spock comes in and he adjusts the tone and shit on it. Like, I love that kind of shit.
As a guy who plays bass and plays guitar, do you think Charles Napier played guitar, and so he was like, "This is going to have to be just like a"?
Oh,
guitar.
I'm sure he did. Because he's working his fingers like he's playing it. You know, if you go back and watch, it's really quite something.
Well, that was very impressive because
Nimoy on the lute is like. He's hitting the bass notes as he's doing so much fun.
Well, and that is very impressive about Napier. I agree, Eric, because nothing takes me out of a show faster than somebody whose finger movements on the piano just clearly don't match at all. You know, to take it that extra method, as Scott
obviously says. Well, I mean, obviously they took him in, he recorded the track, so he was really well familiar with it. Right. But the look on his face when he comes in to Spock's, and he, like, you know, he's obviously coming in with a mission to get, but he sees the lute and he's like, "Do you play? Can I try it?" Like, it's so great.
That's actually like the fun part of Hippies. Like, even in the early 90s, I knew enough like Grateful Dead guys that would be like, "Hey man, we're getting together and having a jam session." I'm like, yeah, I'll come down. Yeah. None of you guys sing. I'll sing. Sure. Yeah. I know the Jim Croce songbook. Yeah. Why not?
So those are my guys. I will say this: the editor in this episode fucking pissed me off. That's my only complaint. The editor in this was just like, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just unnecessary cutaways. I get that they probably didn't shoot enough, so he had to flip the image and stuff, but it was just like,
right.
God.
They would do that a lot. They would steal all kinds of reaction shots from something else. And you could see them slowing down the film to create a close-up they didn't already have.
It was really obvious in this. And just the cutting, like the scenes with Chekhov and her, Chekhov and the girl were like, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. I did want to mention Chris as my MVP was the casting agent for those girls. Good cast frankly. Really good cast. Very, very, very evocative of what we were supposed to think. All right, we are at that time.
Oh boy.
Folks, Commander Joe Townsend whips out his tidbits and shares them with us. It's a lonely space station. We appreciate all the entertainment we can get. It's time for Townsend's tidbits. Joe, what pieces of trivia would you like to lead us with this time?
Well, I have one of my favorite personal tidbit, which I'm sure that people in our audience, and maybe you two as well, are familiar with. I think this episode would have been even better. It was a good one. Would have been even better had they gone the original route. This was originally going to be called Joanna. Joanna being McCoy's daughter. She was to be the Irina character.
Oh.
Who would have had a romance with Kirk, of course.
Damn it, Joanna.
But it would have put McCoy in the position of being that hardcore conservative that's concerned about his hippie daughter.
Right.
Which didn't play very well with Chekhov, which was obviously a kind of a last minute change.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a much better way to go. Look at this.
So I'm not sure why they didn't go that way. They were going to bring Joanna in the fourth season, which of course never occurred, never happened.
Uh-huh.
Canonically, she's never appeared, although she did make an appearance in non-canonical books and comics after this. So sorry, Joanna, I wish we could have known you. So there's that. We talked about the other actor playing in Patterns of Force. Well, of course, you have to recognize that Charles Napier, of course, 3 decades after this, would do a totally 180 reversal by playing General Dennings in Little Green Men on Deep Space Nine.
That's right.
Great in that role, too.
That's right. Where he was bringing that gravitas he had as the leader of the good old boys from the Blues Brothers movie. That's it.
Where are the Blues Brothers boys? They play both kinds of music, huh? John. What are those? Country and Western.
Country and Western.
Well, let me see what this got here. I just want to make sure I get that one out. As Eric pointed out, I think there were some editing faux pas here. Most notably that we had some reused material from Spock's brain.
Oh God.
In that episode, of course, the alien woman, knocked everybody out, and guess what? Some of that footage was recycled here on the ultrasonic device.
Oh wow.
Most notably the sickbay portion, which for some reason all the lights are out there, but not the rest of the ship.
Oh
wow. I had to put Vol in the Beast because there is a little bit of set reuse from the Apple.
Is there really?
There is. A little bit of that, a little bit of shore leave in there,
I'm a big Vol.
Economical,
I like Vol way more than a preacher's kid should. Vol is Vol.
What was Vol? In the original unremastered version, the Aurora was not a VW van. It was actually a Tholian ship with some nacelles attached to it from an AMT model kit. But when they remastered it, of course, they redid it completely. So unless you have that old episode, it's gone forever.
Yeah, God, I miss the practical. I gotta say, I really do miss the practical ships.
I'm on the fence about it with this series
so much. Like it just doesn't. It just looks better. It looks like it's actually there.
Yeah, Eric, I agree with you, especially when it comes to like Star Wars stuff. For I'm kind of on the fence because I think they restrain themselves just enough to make it worthwhile. But again, sometimes you lose something in the modernization of it. Oh, and I will say that we did mention Spock's loot. Yes. Well, that makes its last appearance in this episode for the series. It will reappear one more time in Star Trek V. Row, row, row your boat.
Oh, right. Right.
Didn't he smash it in a muck time? Did he get another one?
Well, he must have got another one. I don't remember him smashing it in a muck time.
Smashing it.
Yeah, I thought he smashed his loot in one of them. Maybe I'm mixing it up with the Who.
Could be just his little climax her after a concert. But he couldn't be without her for long, regardless. And you know, guys, that's what I've got for tidbits.
Well, what a great episode for us to all gather around and discuss. So much fun. Next week, we've got another classic episode. Let's see.
Oh, my goodness. Look at all those John Webbers.
My favorite part about this is Eric Kramer marrying my daughter. And I can't say that I would object, honestly.
I love this episode.
This is a good one.
The Inner
This is a
Light?
good one. Yeah.
Fantastic. It is a great episode. I haven't watched it in a long time.
It's creative. It's smart. It's yeah. Just really an original idea. Like, just you love stuff like that.
Yeah. It is one of the highest voted of all fandom of the Next Generation, which is of course a beloved series. So yeah, that's the one we're going to be doing next week.
A little inside story, if you don't indulge me, John, but
Of course.
I asked John at the last possible minute, do you have any older photos of you I can use for this graphic? And he gave me one and I said, you know what? I can use that. And hence John's grandson there at the bottom.
Which is what I looked like when I went to college with Nat and with Mike. This is one of the only pictures I have of myself. You know, when you become estranged from your family, take your photos first.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That way you're not without them later.
Well, what we have are great.
Hey, I appreciate everything you did here. Honest to God, I do love that Eric's bride does look an awful lot like my sister Pam.
Well, we did run the grandson's photo through a gender swap filter, so there you go.
Crazy. So that will be next Tuesday. Come on back and join us for the Inner Light. We will be heading towards the end of this season of Retro Trekkers, which is our season 1, frankly, because it was a new show when we started. And we are going to then start watching Strange New Worlds on Paramount and do a recap and review of each one of those. So if you can get to those episodes when it starts airing, we're going to be able to, really hash it out with you. And that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully. Yes, hopefully. Chris says, I'm estranged because I'm strange. Mike says, on the internet, you're estranged. Also coming up this week on Thursday, I hope you will join me for the Make Good episode because I wasn't able to do it this past week, of Casey Crime Photographer. Casey Crime Photographer is one of those characters that in old time radio was very well known and then pretty much disappeared from popular culture. It was a really, really well-known character and story. So I hope you will join us and listen to this series because it's really good and not a lot of people know about it. So the least I can do is I can introduce you to a new radio series. You might find it absolutely wonderful. That's a Strange New World. Hit it. People are strange when you're a stranger. Thank you, Scott. Date night went very well, but date night, unfortunately, this past week, it coincided with us losing our internet, which, made date night go a little bit better, frankly.
No distractions.
Okay. And early TV series, Man with a Camera, Charles Bronson. Actually, Casey Crime Photographer had a series, and Casey was played by Darren McGavin.
Oh.
Now, maybe we can dig that up one of these days because it is an orphan series. Darren McGavin has said it's one of the worst things he ever did.
Oh, no.
And knowing Darren McGavin, I'm like, well, pretty sure I got to see that.
Yeah.
So that is that. And then on Sunday, we are going into our 6th entrance into the world of the dark and bizarre.
Ooh.
Joe Townsend's Dread Time Stories. And this one is called Things That Go Bump in the Day. And if this graphic doesn't disturb you, then you are very undisturbable.
Poor baby.
Like all of our shows, it is on at 7 p.m. or on 10 p.m. if you are on the East Coast. And Furry Bastard, I can't remember what time it is in England, but I think it's pretty late. Hopefully we can catch you before your bedtime.
Well, a great time to watch it late.
It's very scary, and Joe really does like to scare people right before they go to sleep. Mm-hmm. What a weird recommendation. Sorry, Joe. Oh my God. Well, geez, Miss Star, that is that's like, if I didn't take my sleep stuff, I'd be up with you. I could watch that at 4 a.m. too. And let's see, our buddy Chris Ruhlbach, you may know this, writes under the name Christopher Bach. So if you have already checked out joetownsend.com, go ahead and check out Chris Bach's books. He's on lulu.com. Look him up under Christopher Bach. You will find five books that you could get from our good buddy Chris. And is that it? I think that's it. Anybody got anything else they want to say?
I think it's all been said.
Yeah.
All righty. Join us next week for the...
Oh, wait a minute. Eric's got something.
Eric,
No, I'm taking this out. I'm playing this out. Go. Don't wait for me.
That is gonna do it. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everybody, for coming on over and sharing your hilarity with us. We do love that. And hey, we're good to go. LLAP, you beautiful bastard.
Wild and untamed, oh, it's Spider Hat. Beware his kiss, his pleasures unnamed. Yes, it's Spider Hat. Sitting so pretty, way up on John's head. One move of his big spider arms, and brother, you're dead. Oh, Spider Hat, yes, it's Spider Hat. You can't escape his wrath. You're on his evil path. He's on you, his name is Spider Hat. Spider Hat, Spider Hat.